Subsistence living in Alaska. Native residents have been utilizing the land and sea for generations. Those who are new to Alaska cannot begin to comprehend how the natives subsidize their food from the land. While there are many similarities between the different native villages, there are also several differences. No matter what village they are from, food and diet are essential to the daily lives of the native Alaskans. While subsistence offers food to people, it also offers so much more. Villagers not only benefit from the food, they also benefit from clothes, tools, and other items that can be made with various parts of animals. Nothing is wasted when it comes to using the animals. While the subsistence ways of life allows many native cultures to live and survive, it also brings about the political controversies. No matter the village visited in the rural Alaska, many common themes will be seen. Natives would be using the resources around them to successfully feed, clothe, and maintain a lifestyle based on their beliefs and needs for food and diet. Alaska is an extremely large state. There are thousands of miles to cover when one travels the great state. As one travels across Alaska, the possibility of encountering a native is high. Having an understanding and knowledge of how they live will allow non-natives to comprehend their lifestyle. According to the Alaska Department of Fish and Game, subsistence living is the harvest and processing of wild resources. This includes the uses of food, materials, and other traditional uses. Many of the traditions have been passed down for generations and are part of customs within a cultural group. Cultural groups in Alaska include Aleut, Athabascan, Alituit, Euro-American, Haida, Inupiat, Tlingit, Chismayan, and Yupik for centuries, and they all rely on subsistence living. Along the Alaska Peninsula, the Unagandan natives can be seen living off the land. The Steller sea lion is the most important catch for them when they hunt, comprising 50% of their diet, according to Langdon. For this particular sea lion, the Unagandan natives will use every part of the animal. Aside from the obvious food, the sea lion provides many tools to the villagers. The sea lion will provide fish hooks, tools for bones, containers for using the stomach, and clothing by using the esophagus and intestines of the sea lion. Along the eastern parts of Unagandan, whaling is not the major source of food. Hunting is done more for caribou and salmon is caught. Bird eggs are also collected by the women and children. During the summer months, use of the water to catch the abundance of fish available is the primary way of getting food for Aleut natives on Unmak Island in 1936. Everyone is involved in the fishing process, from the catching to the cleaning and the cooking. Fishing is important to the Aleuts, and salmon is the major fish that is caught. According to Ransom, shellfish are also collected during low tide during certain times of the year. The Aleut will eat shellfish raw or cooked. Water hunts also consisted of whales, sea otters, sea lions, and other animals that live in the water. Most sea mammals are used in the past for foods and tools. Today, the sea mammals are not used quite as often. Migratory birds would also make meals from time to time along with their eggs. The Gulf of Alaska, from Kodiak Island to Copper River Delta, is home to the Sugpiaq and Altuik Alaska Eskimos. Like many native Alaskans that live along the water, they hunt water mammals like whales, sea otters, harbor seals, and sea lions. A special tool called an atlatl, a throwing board, is used when hunting sea mammals. As with many of the native Alaskans, nothing on the animals is wasted. Food, tools, and clothing will be made with the collection of hunted animals. Inupiat Alaska natives comprise approximately 10,000 people in Alaska. Due to where they are located, they have the ability to hunt caribou, hunt a variety of whales, and fish for their food. A single whale hunt can take the entire village to complete. Whaling is done for generations in the villages. Those that are going out to kill the whale will camp on ice for weeks at a time. The Inupiat will then take small boats out and look for the whales to kill. It takes 60 to 70 people to then bring the whale up on the ice once it's dead. Following a ritual ceremony, everyone begins to work on the whale and dress it out. Every part of the whale is used. Interior Alaska does consist of Athabascan natives. Athabascan fish is Athabascans fish and hunt and learn to preserve their food for the entire winter. Fishing, drying, and storing their salmon catch for all winter is extremely important to have the amount that is needed for the long winters in Alaska. Many interior natives will also supplement their fish consumption by hunting for moose and caribou during specific times of the year. Many smaller animals such as beavers, rabbits, and squirrels also add to the diet of interior Athabascan natives. Another Alaska native culture is the Tlingit, who occupy the area from Yakutat Bay to Portland Canal and Haida. They are unlike other Alaska native cultures and can be compared to present-day British Columbia Indians, according to PBS. Marine resources had to be used in order to have food. However, whales and sea lions were not hunted. They would occasionally use one of these animals if it was already on land dead. Men would go to the mountains to hunt caribou and gather food. Clams, chitons, and other resources were also used as backup food during winter months when and if it was needed. While many of the cultures in Alaska hunt, fish, and grow food, many of them slowly have to rely on the Western culture for food and accessories for daily life. This has contributed to health reasons, government interference with the land, and more. In years past, the amount of fish and game that one could hunt was not regulated. Today, there are many regulations for every aspect of subsistence living. Laws are changing the traditional lives of the native Alaskans. These laws are now restricting the amount of fish and game a person can obtain at one time. This causes problems where large families are concerned, as they can only gather so much at once, but they need much more. Food preparation plays a role in how the Alaska natives live. In past generations, people would go out and hunt the food, take it home, and prepare it for storage, using whichever process was needed. In the article, Alliot Natural Food Economy, Ransom describes many different ways food is prepared. As time and situations have changed and cultures have been exposed to various forms of staple trade foods, cultures are changing. While subsistence offers food to people, it also offers much more. The resources can also be used for clothes and tools. While the subsistence way of life allows many native cultures to live and survive along the Yukon River Delta region, it sadly brings about political controversies as well. The area of the YK Delta contains an abundance of subsistence resources that not only the natives would like to use, but the government would like access to. Laws are changing the way the traditional lives of the native Alaskans live. Much of the traditions along this region vary depending on the exact location and the specific village they are from. Many still try to continue the use of the natural resources around them. Native Alaskans believes that respecting the resources will provide you with more or less, and they will go away if you do not return it. The times are getting hard, and some have to begin to use store-bought food, causing them to look elsewhere for their traditions and culture to be able to provide for their families. The Alliots are not the only culture to be changing. Molly Lee discusses how one Yupik native friend of hers lives in Anchorage but constantly travels to the villages by bush planes to participate in subsistence living. Lee explores how urban Alaska Native women continue to maintain their heritage while having to live in the cities. Unfortunately, there are also many questions that come about for subsistence living when one Native Alaskans to this. Over the years, both state and federal government have constantly worked to put various acts in place to control subsistence living for Alaskans. Several that have been mentioned repeatedly are the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, or ANSCA, of 1971, the State Subsistence Act of 1980, and McDowell versus the State of Alaska, 1989. There have also been compromises as well. During the passing of the various acts and the economy changing, Native Alaskans have had to relocate to cities. The government continues to try and make compromises to appease everyone, yet there are several things that have to be taken into consideration. Throughout any culture, there are changes in lifestyles that are affected. Throughout the last few decades, Alaska rural natives have seen an abundance of change with the introduction of store foods, implementation of many laws to limit and moderate fishing and hunting, and health concerns. No matter the situation that has been handed to the Native Alaskans, they uphold traditions and family values as much as possible.